moment.
Yes, it's just the two of us. So we'll have to do a song and dance routine, Ginny, to entertain the Facebook public until Mandy makes it back into the live again. So
absolutely.
So anyway, it's lovely to be here with you. It's lovely that Mandy had the forethought to invite you here today, and I've been so looking forward to seeing you again because it's been such a long time.
Likewise, I feel very blessed to be asked to come on, and lovely to see you both. You know,
Yes.
Haven't seen you for quite a long time, and seen a little bits of you on Facebook, but not actually to be able to talk to. So it's wonderful to connect.
Yes, and I always love to have conversation, to share conversation with like-minded, like-hearted others such as yourself, whose knowing of life is like multi-layered, multifaceted. So it's fabulous where the flow of that conversation can take us, you know, and that really feeds me. I love that.
It is. And we are in amazing times right now where there's so many, like you said, multifaceted layers and densities and timelines, and there's just so much going on.
Absolutely. My guidance showed me that we've only ever lived on the very pinnacle point of the iceberg, and then what's laying underneath that's always been unseen, that only some of us have been able to dive into, and even then it hasn't been the entire depth and width of it or breadth of it, is now all starting to come together as one reality within yes. all the different fields of like imagination and yeah. You know, all the dimensions and timelines through. So we are in exciting times, aren't we, Ginny?
We absolutely are. Yes, that's how I see it too. I know we used to talk about the veil thinning and all that, but I actually see everything concertinaing down into one time and space,
yeah,
where everything is revealed. And even the magical things that perhaps we don't, or many don't see, like beings, you know, and nature spirits and all those things, we're all going to be eventually living in that same timeline and interacting with each other. I mean, which we do anyway, but we will be able to actually see, feel, hear, and everything else with all our senses. And
yeah, go on.
Yeah, and it's amazing, isn't it, that many more people are waking up and feeling this too. And some I've found with people that have come to me, some people are waking up instantly, which is quite a shock for them. And other people, yeah, and other people it's a slower process, and of course other people it's a lot slower. And it's been pretty amazing. But the ones that have been waking up instantly, it literally has been mind-blowing for them, because some of them have thought that they've either got a brain tumor or, you know, there's something physically going wrong, you know, and even had gone and had tests and all sorts. Of course, the doctors can't find anything wrong.
No.
And I'm just blessed that they've managed to come and find me so I can actually explain to them what's going on and now what they're seeing, because they're seeing things, you know.
Yes.
And amazing.
Well, you know, when you think about it, if your entire perception has been limited to just this physical reality and everything else has been only a concept, then to wake up that suddenly and start seeing all this stuff, start feeling and realizing all the stuff that wasn't there a moment before, it could literally blow your mind, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had younger people contact me and say they actually think they were going crazy.
Gosh.
And as soon as they started explaining to me what they were seeing, I'm going, no, you're not at all. Your third eye has just gone and you know, now you're seeing everything, you know, all at once. And And it's, you know, you will learn to not control it, but to balance it.
Yes.
And understand it.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely. And here she is. Are you back again, Mandy, or are you frozen again? Oh, she was back for a split second and now she's frozen again.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, she's having real difficulties at the moment.
Yeah.
And it simply just is, I guess, what it is, as always. So just getting back to our conversation, and you know, with these ones that are waking up all of a sudden, I mean, that's where we come in, the likes of you, myself, and Mandy, and the others with that deeper awareness of life, because we are there to hold them, to support them, and to show them that they're not actually going crazy, they're actually moving into reality. So big difference, yes. Totally different direction.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
You're on mute.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yes. You're on mute, Mandy.
Honestly, this keeps dropping out. I'm glad it's holding for you girls.
Yeah.
Out like a yo-yo. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, I've been enjoying.
Well, you're back now.
Listening to a bit of your conversation. Yeah, I am, I think. Who knows? We'll see. But welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, Ginny, to this beautiful, live, intimate conversation. And thank you, Ginny, for carrying on with that there. So today's topic and what we're going to be talking with Ginny around is the light codes. That we're all getting and have been getting and downloading for many, many years, but more intensely now, I think. So Janine is going to read Ginny's bio, so we'll go with that.
Okay, thank you. Ginny was born psychic for as long as she can remember, and she has been able to sense energy, often see spirit, and tap into other dimensions her whole life. Now living in New Zealand with her husband and a menage of animals in the Bay of Plenty, Ginny is originally from a little village near Stonehenge in the UK. Her work is in the intuitive educational fields, both nationally and internationally. Ginny sees each person's vibration and taps into this as she sees everyone is uniquely made up of glyphs and codes. The healing modalities Ginny works with are healing activations, transmissions, intuitive readings, Reiki, crystals, inner child, emotional freedom, conscious and subconscious work, sound, cell singing, light frequency, light language, fifth dimensional frequency healing, and galactic core cellular light frequency healing. Wow. Thank you. What a beautiful bio. What a beautiful person. What a beautiful being. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. And Ginny's work is amazing. So I just wanting to read now, this is in Ginny's own words about the light codes that come through and how she receives, or we'll go into the conversation on how she receives. But it all started with me receiving downloads of different codes, symbols, and hieroglyphs. They would always come at night. This happened over many years until one evening I had up close ET contact. From that moment on, I knew I was being watched. A few weeks after contact, I had an ET being come in and teach me about the energetics and codes of the human form and how I could adjust the energy blueprint for healing and activating the person. Over the years, this has developed to me using light codes, language and toning light in healing sessions to now be me channeling personal codes for people, which seems to have a profound effect on people when they meditate with their personal code. They're multidimensionally activated and often their life seems to take off in many positive ways. It's like these codes activate their own innate being, adjust the light body, and connect at a soul level, which changes the whole blueprint. Absolutely amazing, Ginny. I myself have commissioned you to do my own personal code, And I did receive that. I'm going goosebumps now talking about it. And I loved it. When I first saw it, it was like, oh, okay. I don't know what I had in my head, whether I was what I was expecting, but it was different. And I sort of park things up, parked it up here for a minute. And then it was about 2 days or so later, I thought, oh, I need to sit with this. It kept pulling me back to it. So I sat in with this coding, and it absolutely activated. It was like coming through to me and into me, downloading into me. I could see the pattern of it placing itself throughout my body. It was amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, do some amazing work, Ginny.
Thank you. And it literally all, I never, if someone was to say to me, years ago, oh, you're going to be activating people's codes for them and bringing them on board, like lighting them up like a motherboard type thing, I would have said, nah, that's not me. But the journey has literally developed like this naturally, and I am still blown away by it myself, because I don't fully understand it totally either. I know that the codes that have been downloaded into me, and I get very emotional about this too, because I'm actually sitting here vibrating like crazy all the way through because I'm speaking about this.
Yes.
So what I've found is, and like I said, I don't consciously fully understand it, but what I found is that the codes that have been downloaded into me, and I'm pretty sure they're from ET, but they're from source, really. And I believe that ETs and our beautiful beings that are from many, many different realms and dimensions all work together in that higher being place to bring and whatever we need down here, or to help us in whatever way, and to help the collective and everything. So I've had ET experience, I've had spiritual experience, and since having the codes come in, what I feel is that they have adjusted my blueprint. So they've come in directly from ET or source, or whoever you'd like to call it, from the collective, and they have adjusted my blueprint. And I even get them now still, so I'm obviously still being adjusted, but to the point where what I do is so hard to explain into human words, because it's so multidimensional. It's right out there. So what I do is, I know I activate people, and I can activate people by consciously drawing or downloading, channeling a code. When I speak light language, when I draw it, when I tone it, and I'm only going by the feedback I've had from other people, that other people have profound activations or things happen to them when they've experienced it, when it's gone in. And of course, for each individual, the timing is up to where they're at, where their body's at, where their consciousness is at, where their soul's at. So I have no control over that activation, if you like. I just know it comes from me. And I know that the effects, I've never ever had anyone come back and say, oh, that was awful. I just have had the feedback is that some people's lives have taken off when they've meditated with it. They've had all sorts of things coming into their consciousness, which has really expanded things for them, whether it's on a business level, a personal level, or whatever level that they decide to channel it into. And it blows me away. It absolutely does. And like I said, I don't fully understand it myself consciously. I feel it, and I know it's from my soul, and that it's like the collective are using me as a beacon to bring these codes in and forward and through. And as I'm speaking this, I'm literally tingling all over. I'm surprised you can't see it actually, because I'm like, yeah. So, and it's been amazing. I when they first started, I would be asleep at night and I'd start dreaming that I'm seeing all these codes and hieroglyphs and all that. And it would normally be right at the beginning, it would be a black background and I'd be seeing them all in sparkly golden light being drawn. And then I would wake up and I would be actually consciously awake and I'd still have my eyes shut and I'm still seeing it all being written behind my eyelids. Yeah. So that, you know, that was my cue. They had to wake me up because otherwise I would have thought it was a dream. And so waking up and still seeing it, I knew it was a download. And I would get also the full body tingles at the same time, going right the way through. So it was obviously activating the whole of my being. Now they've changed over the years, because I used to see them on things as well, and I'd get them coming in spirals and they'd be going along in lines and stuff like that. I haven't actually had them come in that way for quite a while now, and I get this regularly. I'd say at least once a week. It's like flashes of bright white light straight into my consciousness. Again, it comes at night, it wakes me up, and then I still see it happening. So it's normally about between 3 and 5 flashes of this really bright white light, which is straight into my consciousness, which I know that you know, I just accept it now. Okay, I don't understand it, but I'm being given more information of some type and being adjusted. Yeah,
you know,
yes.
it's the human level of us, our minds, that needs the explanation of what those codes are doing. And
yeah,
and you mentioned a few times there, Ginny, that you can't consciously say. It's hard for you to find the words because it's not about words, as you know, as we all know, and it's about pure feeling. And so once we get to the stage where we bypass the mind completely, because we understand that feeling and mind have no correlation at all, apart from what the mind can feed into the emotions. But when we bypass the mind, then we have this clear pathway of these codes just bursting within our field and doing what they're doing without the need to have to understand the why, but to see the difference in ourselves as we move forward. And that's your gift. And to not have to explain is asking your clients to trust in you. And that's a big thing, because they need to have that description of what's going on. So it's just, as we move forward and we grow more into ourselves as the feeling beings, we'll have that trust in ourselves to know who to go to or to open ourselves to these codes. But, you know, in the meantime, those such as yourself and Mandy and myself, because we're all light language coders. So in the meantime, of course, we're here to help to do this with humanity, you know. So I totally hear what you're saying.
And I know that white light you talk of, Ginny, it's so vibrant, like it's like a platinum white, it's just brilliant. I get that coming for me as well at times when I'm sitting, and it's just intense. Beautiful though, very beautiful.
It is, and it is so intense and bright, it wakes me up. And I actually love it now, because I just know, you know, when that happens, I go, oh, thank you, because I know that I'm being adjusted more, and that, you know, the light's coming in. And you know, even when I look, So this is all about codes as well. This is about codes on a collective level. When I look into the another dimension of what's going on the earth in a crystalline level, I see the codes in the earth like a grid, crystalline grid, and around the earth, that I see through each human that's being woken up or awakening to their own true essence. It's a grid of light in all living things that is growing by the day. And it literally is, if I can explain it, it's like a snow crystal in like a mandala type format, growing and spreading all around the earth as each living thing actually awakens. And it's a beautiful thing to see, and I wish everyone could see it, because I see it in my mind's eye, and it's beautiful. Again, it's very coded. In fact, I've actually drawn a code, which I thought I would. Don't know whether you can see that or not. Oh.
Just bring it closer to the yes, and just a bit closer even than that.
Because you keep disappearing into the universe.
You do. Oh, this is fun today, isn't it?
Not showing up, is it? But that's fine. What I'll do is I'll put it on the comments in the Facebook page.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. You know, if everybody could see, and of course the day will come when everybody can see what we see and what we know right now with that growing light, that beautiful grid light crystalline mandala that's happening around the earth, there would be no doubt whatsoever within the mind of anyone that the light has won this won the rights to this reality, you know. And but you know, of course people don't, and so of course, as we were saying earlier on, we can see the dark and the light are both building up to a point right now, and it brings a lot of doubt to people right in this moment as to what's going on out there. But yes, you take it from the broader perspective, and you can see that growing light, and oh my gosh, yes, the beauty is divine. That's that would be how I'd describe that.
It is. Literally, if you get rid of the illusion of this reality, that's what you see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it really just comes back to experiencing. You know, we take all the judgment away.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, Ginny, what do you know the galactic race of the ET, as you term them, ETs, that taught you?
Yes, well, I think so. I believe that she was Arcturian, which of course are a very healing race. I have drawn a picture of her. I haven't actually got that with me right now, but I have drawn a picture of her. She had a uniform on. I could see her with a uniform, and the uniform, I've never seen anything like the material. It was almost like it was alive. It was moving, shimmering, silvery, metallic-y sort of thing. She kind of looked like she had shoulder pads on, because her shoulders were very square, and it was a pale sort of silvery, bluey grey colour. Down to the ground as well, the actual garment she was wearing, and she had sort of a pale grey blue skin, larger eyes, typical what people would think would be a grey, but the presence of her was not emotional, so there was no emotion, but it was very, I can't even say loving, because there was no emotion, but it was a very beautiful feeling coming from her, if you like. And she was implanting images in my mind of the energetics on the body, and it was literally like grids of energy all over the body, and that I could adjust them. And I could not only with my fingers, but actually with my voice. This is the fascinating thing. But with my voice. So the toning and singing was very important. It opened things up and moved things on a level beyond my understanding. It was like the essence of where that sound and that frequency came from, which was my soul or the collective that's within me, was adjusting the energy blueprint of the body. And I could see it all in like little golden sparkly bits of light that were moving around the body. It was pretty fascinating. And funny enough, because this went on for several weeks, every time I had a client, because I had my healing practice in Auckland then, and every time I had a client come in, the hologram of her would come in and be in the corner of the room. Now, I'll just explain to anyone watching, I wasn't seeing her with these eyes. I was seeing her with my extra sight, but I knew she was there. I could feel her. And of course, she was planting images in my mind. But funnily enough, twice while she was teaching me, another human male was brought in. Oh,
sorry.
I can hear noise.
I'm trying to see the comments. Okay.
You may have to mute that.
I will. Sorry.
A human male was brought in and was stood by the healing table, and was watching what was going on. Now, that only happened twice, and it was the same male each time, funnily enough. And I knew, don't ask me how I knew, but I just knew that he was asleep somewhere on this planet, and his astral form had been brought in to learn whatever she was teaching on those particular days. Right. It was amazing, honestly. It blew my mind what was going on, you know. I just felt so blessed, so very blessed, and I would love that experience again.
Oh, you put it out. You put it out there now. So, you know, when you, sorry, Mandy, go.
Oh, you go.
When you were talking before, Ginny, about the material of her uniform and how it seemed to be alive, it reminded me of a time many years ago when I went into a different timeline and went into the body of myself in that timeline, and I saw exactly the same thing, and I was more fascinated with that than anything. So I had very pale gold skin, and my what looked like a gown or robes was golden as well. And what I thought was a gown or robes actually moved into my legs and came out again. And when I held my arm up to have a look, it was so beautiful. It was like liquid silk, but it was moving into my arm as I moved my hand in that, and then it would extend out. And it was like what I was creating was with my consciousness right in that moment. If I wanted a sleeve, out it came. If I didn't, in it went, you know. And that was fascinating. Even the most delicate sandally looking things on my feet came in and out of my feet as I wriggled my toes and moved. So that entire civilization on that timeline is beautiful. But I was more, and there was a lot more experience, but I was more fascinated with this garment actually being part of my being, you know. So thanks for prompting that.
Thought reality, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
the instant thought reality, and
or feeling reality.
Yeah. Well, thinking sleeve, and then you have it, you know. Activating it. But and that for me, Arcturian thing too, you know, that's my clan as such. And there is some amazing technology that we have in there. And for
Yes.
me, when clients would come in, it was like it was lifting the blueprint, like you were saying, exactly that on the healing table. And it's like the blueprint would be lifted, and you could, and it was as if this panel had come down for me, and it was like punching in these codes. So actually, literally punching in a code that was shifting the template and the design of these templates with the clients. It was amazing. But we have a question here from Donna. And Donna, there's a lovely comments on here, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us today. But anyway, Donna's asked, if someone is told they are ET, how would one explore this?
I would meditate. I would literally meditate with it. Just have no expectations, and just ask your higher self, ask your soul, if you like, to show you what your ET lineage is. Meditate with it and just see what comes. That's what I would do in that circumstance. I would just play with it. Don't go into it with that, you know, I must see that. Just go into it lightly and that play, because it's in those moments of play and lightness that you'll be shown, you know, lots of different things. And hopefully you'll get the same experience where actually things will be put into your consciousness, so you can explore that and go with it. Don't just, you know, when something comes in, don't just go, oh yeah, that was brilliant, and then it kind of fades. Just float with it. So it's not a falseness, it's a just float into it and explore. See, you know, in your mind's eye, maybe what planet you were from, what plants were on that planet, what other beings were on that planet, what were the structures of the buildings like, or even on board a ship. Allow yourself to be floating into that experience, and trust what you're getting. Trust it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Once you've opened those doorways, that's when you can expand your consciousness into that.
And I would add to that, Ginny, that fabulous explanation that, you know, if a person just puts out their intention to the universe, they speak it out loud, so they hear themselves say that they would like to know more about this of themselves, then just let it go then and be open to life bringing into them over the next few days or weeks. Don't look for it, don't expect it, just be open to it, and seeing what comes up either on the internet, in sentences in a book, any, you know, in movies or anything like that, and then exploring that. So taking that piece that's come in and just sitting with it and exploring it. And I just add here too that we've got to always remember that we have been all the extraterrestrials and all the civilizations. We've had these experiences right through time, and so whatever comes up is the relevant one in the moment. But there's so many that we can call on within ourselves. You know, we have it all. Absolutely. So no expectation, no limitation on it. And the big part is trust in yourself and what comes to you, and the feeling that comes when something is presented to you. Trust in that. Don't fob it off. Don't fob it off. Don't say, oh, you know, it can't be. Don't do that to yourself anymore.
One of the ways that I wanted to know where I came from, what was my, you know, original existence, I suppose, in the sense before spark, you know, of consciousness, of course. And went to the Arcturian planet, or Arcturus. But the way that I did it was that because somebody could tell me something, but I always needed to find out for myself. It was like, okay, well, I can sort of feel that could have a bit of truth to it, but I'd always want to know myself. So this one time I sat and I wanted to travel out and find where I came from. And I lifted out of body, and got a bit frightened, so shot back into body again and sat there and oh, you know, then tried again, went a bit further and came back in again a bit fearful. The third time there was no return. It was like, woof, I was just gone. And what had happened before that was I read on Google, you know, Googled galactic races, ET races, whatever I might have put in there, and looked at the big long list, because there's many, many different races, and they're only, you know, have been recorded through, I mean, there's probably thousands, hundreds of thousands more that are not recorded. But anyway, those that were, I felt into each time I was reading through their qualities, abilities, all the things that they were described as. And the Arcturian really resonated, like my whole body just went into this vibration and my heart just straight open. I thought, this is the one. And so it was from that really made me want to find out. But going and finding that information, once I did, I realized that the gifts that were coming through me on, like as a healer, so I could identify now what my Maori blood was bringing in, the tupuna and the different way that we work with that, and then my galactic race and who that was and how that all worked and how that all fitted together and blended. It was just beautiful, but no more questioning was lovely. It was a deep knowing, an innate knowing, and that just built confidence. It wasn't, there was no more questioning. So anyone who's wanting to just find out, go for it.
Yes, it's absolutely.
I will say too that there are many ET races actually visiting the Earth on a constant level. I've had physical ET experience on many occasions here, where I live here, but also when we lived in Beachlands. I also belong to the C5 group, which is here in New Zealand, and I go on their expeditions and we have amazing contact. I mean, literally up close, being touched, being scanned, light anomalies. One time I actually heard someone, it sounded very much like light language actually being spoken right behind me. And this was in a meditation when we were sat out in the field, all in a group. And afterwards we share what experiences we might have had in the meditation. And so I shared that I heard this light language, and there was an American guy next to me and he heard it too. So we knew that there was an ET behind us that was actually speaking to us both. Not that we understood what was being said, but it did sound just like light language. And so, you know, if you really want physical ET contact, set that intention too. But I will tell you that they do not want to frighten you. So if you have any ounce of fear within you, which is normal because it's a realm that we unfortunately have often been taught a fear about because of all the films that have been shown about ET contact and all that stuff. But the experiences I've had on a physical level have all been positive. I've never had any negative experiences at all. I've even been healed, actually. This only happened the beginning of last year, and I wasn't consciously aware of the healing, but when I busted my ankle, our two bulldogs happened to knock me flying outside one day, so I went over on my ankle, fractured it twice, 2 fractures, which showed up on the x-ray. 2 weeks later, I had to go back and have another x-ray through the cast that had already been put on. No fractures shown. So I know that I was healed within those 2 weeks. And thank you for that. So, you know, we've had electrical things happening here in the house, and I feel the atmosphere in the room change. So I know that beings have come in. They have always come in cloaked, come in here. So we've had lots of interaction with different electrical things happening here. So if you want to have actual ET contact, put that out there too. But just remember, they will not want to frighten you. So if you have any fear around it, even though they might show up, you might not see them or feel them, because they are so highly advanced with their technology that they can come in cloaked and be stood right next to you, and you will only feel it if they want you to feel it or hear it or see it, you know. So also, you know, we've had major experience in the bush with other type of extraterrestrial beings, which I believe are here actually in support of all the nature we have on this planet. And they're working with the nature and everything else. So anyone else that happens to be also very nature orientated, they can feel it within you. And, you know, in the right circumstances, when you're at your most vulnerable, really, they need to know that you haven't come with any harm or anything like that, or any ulterior motive. This is with these little nature ETs. You know, often they will come up close if you literally get down on your knees, because they're only short little beings, and put your arms out and really open your heart and expand your heart and just radiate out that love from every orifice that you've got, from through your skin and everything. And that way they will sense your true agenda, if you like, that it is pure love, and that you're more likely to get contact then, you know, with the beautiful nature beings. Yeah, I feel so blessed that some of the experiences I've had, and I know there's many more to come. So, we've even heard craft over the house here when the lights have been going crazy in the house, and I hear this sound that was like a woo, 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 at night, so you know that there's nothing else out there. Yeah, and it's right down low, and the lights are going in the house.
Yeah.
And you know that it's a craft right above the house.
I actually went to our country road about 3 a.m. in the morning. I heard that noise. It was just whoo, whoo, whoo. And like it was here but not here too. It was like everywhere. It was weird.
Yes.
And not weird, we know. But I went out onto the road outside to have a look and see what was going on, but nothing showed up. Yeah. But I've just had Tara has put in here too. They came for a visit, but I couldn't see or feel them. But my 3-year-old daughter could. She referred to them as the colours. I believe the Arcturians were trying to get my attention through her. Beautiful, Tara.
Beautiful, yes, that beautiful experience. Because the young ones are so open. They have no filters whatsoever to stop, and no fear, and full trust. So yes, absolutely.
The colours, though, I love that. Because the Arcturian, beautiful Arcturian that showed up for me first off, he sparkles. He's just all sparkle of all colours. Like, you know, the diamond, and it's just gorgeous. This beautiful energy.
And isn't it wonderful that the young ones are having those experiences? I've had a few people contact me about, one lady in particular, her daughter was drawing on the walls. She was only young, I think she was only about 4, but she was drawing a little green man and a little silver disc on the walls, and was saying to Mum that, you know, that she's interacting with him, you know. And so Mum contacted me and going, what's going on here? And I said, don't worry about it. She's having an experience with ET. And I've had someone else contact me. They're hearing little footsteps running around at night. So I went in there and I did a clearing of all spirit that were in there that shouldn't have been in there. And the footsteps were still happening. So when I tuned into that, I think they had 3 children, and they were all interacting. And it was little ET beings that were coming in and teaching the kids at night all different things. So it was the little ETs that the 2 parents that were downstairs were hearing running around upstairs.
Yeah.
So they're here. they're interacting with the
yes.
young ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
are them?
I
You know,
yeah, yes, I was going to say that before, and but what I wanted to just share right now is that my oldest grandson, he's 20 now, and when he was 3, he was sitting at a coffee table with a pad and pen, and he was writing line after line after line after line of glyphs and codes and light language. And I just stood over his shoulder watching, and I thought, oh my gosh, I called out to his mum. I said, come and have a look at this. And she whispered to me, what's he doing? I said, he's actually penning light language. And
How cool.
yeah, and the moment she said to him, what are you doing, Bubs? He stopped. And that was it. The contact was broken, you know, the connection.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love those tangible pieces
Beautiful.
that come into our life. You know, what I was going to say before was just what you touched on, Mandy, about we are them, you know, and often as human beings in our curiosity, our minds want to see the external. We want to have the external experience and see these beautiful beings from other civilizations, forgetting that the closest and most beautiful being to us is actually inside us, and we are from those civilizations, you know. And so never to forget that to go inward, we can have the closest, most upfront, face-to-face extraterrestrial experience of our lives. So, and it's again, that's trusting in what we get with ourselves too, and believing in ourselves. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes,
and so you're still having contact, obviously, Ginny, or going on all the time. Yeah,
I love it. I've now changed to I've got a radio. It's a what they call walkie-talkie, and I have 2 going because the ET interact actually through these radios.
Yeah.
So I have 2 going, and they're both on the same frequency. They're not here with me at the moment, they're in the kitchen, but they're very much like this. So 2 on the same frequency, and only one of them will be going. And you know, if something's on the same frequency and one goes, the other one also goes. So you know that actually is an interaction. And what I found is that 2 different types of beings seem to interact through it, and it's a pattern of coded blips, I can only call it that, and it seems to be, and I feel like these are energy beings, so they're like healers or energy beings that come through and interact in that way. And it's a pattern, it's a regular pattern, and as soon as I go outside with my radios, it starts. So I know that they're here. I know they're in the vicinity of it. And some of the other radios that I've got, because I've got several, I get another interaction through one of them, and that is a much more direct. I know it's from a different race because of the way it comes through. It's like, and it's really intense. And the other one's just a sort of a set pattern that just repeats over and over. Yeah, it's amazing. So, literally, I'll go out the door and it starts, and I might go and sit in the spa at night and watch the stars, and I've got the radio there, and that's going off, and it's constantly. And you know, I'll see shooting stars. I'll see. Often, I will see. So I think they're kind of portals that are open. I was going to say, actually, Mandy, when you said you heard that noise, that you couldn't see anything, I know, which you probably know this anyway, but for anyone else listening, that ET come through portals. So they can be in the portal and not quite materialized.
Yes.
So the sound will come through, but actually you might not see anything. And sometimes you can see those portals. Like I see them often. I'll see them actually as like they look like a black hole that's literally appeared and then it disappears within a second. And me and my daughter have seen energy craft that has been moving so quickly and it's literally almost within, you know, a couple of blinks, and it's gone right up into the atmosphere very, very quickly. And this one in particular had a purple center and an energy shield around it. We both saw it, and it was going at such speed. And that was above the house here. And we've actually heard sounds very, very close to you, like clicking noises and all sorts of other things. One time here we had a ground flash, which is literally this flash of light comes out of nowhere, lights up the whole ground, and then vanishes back up again. So you know there's a craft up there, and it's literally lit up the ground. Yeah. So yeah, I love it. I can talk about ET contact forever.
Same. When I was living, because I live in Whangarei now, but Dargaville is a very active place. Along the beach out there on the west coast, there's a lot of activity. But we were doing a sweet lodge actually in the country, so the sky was really, you know, you could see what was going on. And there'd been some strange sort of type of energy, you know, you could feel something else was sitting around us. And there were triangle, so they had formed a triangle, 3 ships, and they were synchronized. They were speeding across the sky, but in synchronous, like they just didn't move out of that triangle space. And they were quite a way apart from each other. I don't know, it could have been one huge ship with 3 lights, of course it could have been, I don't know, but it was amazing. The other thing I wanted to just ask too is, do you feel that the, you know, you were saying that they were coming through on your radio as a pattern. Is that Morse coding? Like, do you feel like it's a Morse code type of thing, or?
It is an interaction of codes, but it's not Morse code, because I have recorded it, and I've sent it to somebody who knows Morse code, and it's not Morse code. Yeah. My dad actually used to do Morse code, so when I actually hear Morse code, because my dad's passed away now, I often wonder, is that you, Dad, trying to contact me? Doing a da 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 dip 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 dip, dip you know,
coming from his ship.
Yes, that's right.
Awesome.
I remember sitting in a group one time years ago, and we were talking about extraterrestrials, and the entire group was open to contact. And then somebody got the message for us to go outside now, like it was very, very strong, clear message. So we were very excited, and we all got up and we raced outside expecting to see a craft or something. But what actually happened was, it was like the sky was falling in of all the stars. So literally thousands and thousands of tiny stars in a sort of a goldy silver color were being poured down from the sky and just disappearing in the atmosphere, like just above our heads. So if we put our hands up, we still couldn't touch them, all that, although they literally looked like they were going to actually come right down to the earth. So they were all just disappearing, just out of reach. But it was like the entire universe was pouring in on us out there. Totally not what we expected, but wow, what an amazing experience to have. We all went back inside again when it stopped, you know, completely gobsmacked.
That happened over my house here too. This huge gold ball of light. Like, I was driving up towards the house, so it was big, and it was over my place, and then it just burst like a big fireworks. And all this gold, just beautiful, shimmered down. But the other thing too, talking about portals, Ginny, my daughter and I actually watched a ship. First we saw that it was like the light of this big beam of light just sort of came through at this in the sky, and it was, I totally believe, because it moved, then it went to a dimmer light and it just sort of moved like a ship would. But I believe then what happened, because this is why I believe it was going in and out of the portal, because it then traveled back through another light burst type of thing, and it just sort of disappeared.
Yeah,
So it
sounds
was
like
like
it.
came through, burst through, and then travelled a wee bit, then reversed back again and did the same thing, went back through that burst.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was showing us. It was like, well, here we are. This is where we come in and out. And I've kept that sort of sky vision in the sense of where I feel the portal is that they come in and out. I've sort of got that mapped in my mind where it is in the sky now. And I'll quite often go out and stand out there and, you know, show me again. Yeah.
I think it does sound like that was a portal, but I also believe that they can open portals anywhere they like. So
yes. Yeah,
you know, it might not necessarily be in that same bit of sky
place.
again. Yeah, I mean their technology is quantum, you know, multi-dimensional quantum technology. So they can do anything with a thought. I mean, just going back to the light language, I just had a thought come in. I don't know whether you've heard of her, Susie Hansen, who is like New Zealand's ET lady.
Got her book.
Have you? Yes. Well, in her book, there's one part when she was taken up on board craft, she was shown, so this is connected with the light language, she was shown by ET marks on what looked like, she said, she explains it kind of what looked like an iPad type thing. And these marks were like light language being written. But the ET that was teaching her showed her that each line was so multidimensional, had held so much information about everything in the cosmos, and that was each line. So you can imagine with light language, light codes, speaking it, singing it, or whatever we do, it holds so much information in that one frequency or one line that it literally, like creation, it's that space of nothingness which is also filled with absolutely everything.
Absolutely.
So that's how mind-blowing, if you like, each line of the codes can be, whether it's being spoken, sung, written, or even drawn with hands. You know, whatever way it comes. And it will connect with the soul and the innate being of that individual that's watching it. And even though you know, that there could be several different people watching one video, say, of someone speaking light language or drawing it or whatever, the information for each individual will be different depending on where they're at.
Yes.
And we'll activate them, depending on where they're at.
Sometimes when I've been either saying or singing light language to a client, I watch it enter their field around them, and it's like it enters the field and it expands within the field, and then it's like they become transparent and I see the field move right through them, taking all this incredible, I call them parcels of knowledge, because exactly what you said, Ginny, there is so much held within each piece, within each tiny piece. So, and I watch them move in and through, and it's like they disappear into the universe with inside that person. It's just absolutely beautiful experience.
That's how I see it too. But when I see it coming down from the quantum field and going into that person and doing the same thing.
Just beautiful.
That's the way I see it too, Ginny. My little granddaughter, she's 23 months old, and she will babble like a baby does, type of toddler does, but there's times where she's flicked in, probably about 3 different times now, where she's flicked into this absolute light language. She's just speaking light language, and it's so awesome to sort of watch her and just observe it, though. It's really cool. Yeah.
These children are incredible that are
Yeah.
been coming in for the last few years, and now, you know, they're the builders of the new world. Like we're moving everything there, but then they're the ones that are going to be in it and really doing it. And
Absolutely.
we can learn
Yeah.
so much from them, you know.
Yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I see us as the ones that have stepped through and walked through the thickness of the density of stuff that's happened on this planet, and we've done the clearing as much as we can and still doing to make pathways so these young ones can come through and step into their time and their knowledge and knowing, and like you said, create the new world. It's like we've been the ones that have cleared the pathway as much as we can for generations back too, not just our generation.
Absolutely, Ginny.
No, that's right. Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
been huge.
And oh gosh, yes. And that word stuff that you just said in that sentence then, isn't it going to be absolutely incredible when we're in a stuff-free world? Because stuff is heavy. Stuff is, you know, dross. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, but
Bring
it
it
is
on.
lightening up, and we are lighting up the world, and these young ones coming in, like you say, are definitely lighting it up as well. And it's a really fun place to be if we're in, you know, in creative flow rather than mental human space of what's going on, you know, staying in that creative flow, because that's who we are, that's what we are. And we are all these different galactic beings from around the universe experiencing here in this form. So it is an exciting time. And Ginny, we've come to the end of our hour. So thank you so much for joining us today on our first live intimate conversations, and brilliant work, honestly. And thank you for everything that you've done over this time that we've all been here and clearing and, you know, bringing new realities in and helping people activate in their bodies their realness and their trueness within. So thank you. And Janine, wonderful host.
Thank you so much for having me.
Such a pleasure. And thank you, girls, for carrying on for me. Well, I was trying to work out, I had to put in my Wi-Fi extender thing, so it obviously was Wi-Fi. But thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining in. We've had some really great comments, and, you know, just beautiful to see the interest in this conversation, actually, igniting others as well. So thank you all very, very much.
What a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you,
and lots of love. Thank you.
Lots of love.
Lots of love to you.